Hello and welcome to today's session of Connect Exchange. My name is Art Radoki and I'm with Hands-on Connect Cloud Solutions. And I'm very excited to be sharing with you all one of my favorite partners. I've known Spanning for several years, know several members of their team, and they're a great company to work with and offer a really strong product for Salesforce users and Hands-on Connect customers. So I'm very excited today to have with me Nick and Divat from the Spanning team. They have been a great joy to work with, and I'm very excited for them to be sharing with you the Spanning solution today. So with that, I'll turn it over to Nick.
Thanks, Art. Yeah, and thanks everybody for joining. Excited to talk to you guys a little bit about Spanning. So I'm going to talk for just a few minutes and then turn it over to Divat pretty quickly so that he can show off the product. But just a quick introduction to Spanning. We're just down the road from Art in Austin, Texas. We started in 2011 backing up G Suite and then moved to Salesforce, and we also do backup for Office 365. So the reason that Spanning exists is because when customers make the move to the cloud and invest in an application like Salesforce, they typically think that they no longer have to worry about data protection, when in reality, based on the SLA that these SaaS companies have in place with their customers, the customer still owns the data, and anything they do with the data is a request that the SaaS company honors. So if you accidentally delete something, or you have somebody maliciously delete something either from within the organization or more and more as we're seeing third-party situations like with ransomware and malware, it's very easy for one person to, especially within Salesforce, to corrupt data that the company or the organization relies heavily upon. So that's why Salesforce actually recommends that you put a third-party backup solution like Spanning in place. What we do is a daily automatic backup that captures all of the data in your Salesforce environment from and any changes from the previous daily backup. And what that allows customers to do is to go back to any point in time during their Spanning subscription, pull up their Salesforce environment exactly as it was on that day when that backup occurred, and then restore data quickly and easily and granularly. So specific items, whatever you need back, get it back into production. So it eliminates the need for a weekly export, and beyond that, something that the weekly export doesn't capture that Spanning does are all those customizations that really make Salesforce useful to your organization. So at this point, I'll turn it over to Divat and let him jump right into a demo of the product and kind of show off some of the key features.
Okay, great. So what you're seeing over here is Spanning backup for Salesforce's dashboard. And as you guys can see, we live inside of Salesforce. We are in-app. And that also means we take advantage of the profiles and permission sets that you have already set within Salesforce instance. Now, we back up everything that is in your Salesforce instance, including your base objects, custom objects, files, attachments, metadata, chatter posts, everything. And we offer unlimited storage as well. So if your data grows over time, you don't have to worry about paying extra. And since this is a pure cloud-to-cloud backup, you never have to worry about manually downloading those weekly exports or anything of that sort, because everything is saved safely and securely in the cloud with unlimited storage. And once you set it up, we do the daily automated backups once a day at a time that is convenient for you, which means you can say you want the daily backups to run at 1 in the morning, 5 in the evening, midnight, whatever the case may be. You can totally customize the time and the daily automated backups run. Now, if in case you did a major change in your Salesforce instance, or before you are doing a major change, which is what we always recommend, you can do an on-demand backup, and there's no limit to how many on-demand backups you can run with Spanning backup for Salesforce. And doing an on-demand backup is very, very easy. All you need to do is hit this backup now button and it'll start a backup. Now, all of the backups after the first backups are incremental backups. where we go in and ask for any changes that happened since the last backup was done. So if there were records that were updated, deleted, created, undeleted, we show you all of them and we back those up. And as you can see on the main dashboard, we show you the 4 most important object types for your organization. And these could be any of the base objects or custom objects, and this is totally customizable as well. But this information is available to you right when you get into spanning backup, or also in the email and chatter notifications that we post after the backups are completed, right? So you don't have to necessarily always come to spanning backup to see what happened with your 4 most important object types. You can always go to the chatter post or the email notifications to get a brief summary of what's going on. Now, whenever you have a green check mark over here, which basically will mean that the backup was 100% successful, but you can also go back to any of the previous 12 backups right from the screen and see what was the status for that particular backup. Now, when I click into one of them, let's say I click into this particular one and I go deeper, I can exactly see what were the changes that happened in this environment for this particular point in time backup. Now, if there were any updates or deletes, we also flag them for you. And if you click onto one of them, we can show you exactly what were the records that were updated or deleted. And this could be of any object type. Now, say, for example, this is just one, but you could have tens or thousands of them, and you can quickly and easily identify which were the records that were deleted or updated without having to go through all the CSVs that you would get from a weekly export if you're not using spanning backup, right? Because they don't have a way to tell you that, hey, this one was specifically deleted. You have to actually go and do all the manual work yourself. The other advantage of spanning backup, and I'll get back to this again and do a demo of the restore, but we actually also back up the children, and we are able to put back the children automatically for deleted records. So here you can see that I have 3 children associated with the Abada account, and here you can also see the type of those children and the relationship level and when were they last modified as well. So we give you detailed information. And say, for example, if you were to restore the Abada account, all the children can be automatically restored without you having to do any manual work on your side. And we will also maintain the relationships for you during that process. So going back over here, I do. Go ahead, Art.
If I may, yeah. For our hands-on Connect customers, think of it this: if in case an occurrence was deleted and all the child records, which are the connections, were removed, what Davat was saying is that when you restore that occurrence, it brings back all those connections, so you don't lose that history.
Mm-hmm. Great. So one other thing that I do want to show you on the backup side is you can actually export out the records in a CSV format from any point in time backup. So here I am on the backup as of this morning at 11:17 a.m. I can select account and do an export for this. Since you also back up metadata, you can see that all of these are also backed up, and metadata is basically your customizations, right? So we back those up as well, which is not included in your weekly exports that you get from Salesforce. And the great thing with spanning is we do a backup of metadata in every single backup. So if they are making any changes to your reports, for example, or your dashboard, for example, those changes are also reflected in the backup, and they're available for you to restore it if you would want, or export it from any point in time backup as well. So if you wanted to export this account, you can do that. If you wanted to export everything, which is basically be very similar to your weekly export, you can do that as well. But here the advantage is instead of waiting for an entire week, you have the option of doing an export from a daily backup, or if you're doing an on-demand backup from particular point-in-time backups as well. So you can go, I can go to say April 1st of 2017 and export all of this as well. So you see exactly what was there at that time when we did the backup on April 1st of 2017. Now, one other feature that we are happy to offer because we are in app is what we call an on-page restore. Now, this is great because you as an admin and optionally also your end users can take advantage of this functionality to restore field-specific values for records that those end users would already have access to. So let's say, for example, I have this Grand Hotels and Resorts account over here, and I am a regular end user who has access to modify this particular record in Salesforce. I'm going to make a few changes over here. Let's say, for example, I'm making these changes, and I'm hitting save, right? Now, even if you're using field tracking in Salesforce, you can only track 20 records. And if you do not have that particular field being tracked, there is no way that you can get back that information without having to use a backup product like Spanning. Now, what we offer is this nice little button called Spanning Restore. And when you click that, it will show you side-by-side comparison of field level values between what is in Salesforce right now and what was in the previous backup. So here you are seeing that the values were different, and you as an admin or an end user can select specific values to restore from either this backup, or you can navigate even further back and see what the values were. So as you guys can see, as I'm scrolling back, the values are changing, the fields are changing. They are all different values that I've had for the same record, but the field values have changed, right? So I can select, let's say, for example, just the three of them over here, hit confirm. This is a quick confirmation screen, and then I hit restore. And this will restore these three particular field values from the July 10th backup, and it'll put me back on the same record page where I was. Now, this is the fastest you can get in terms of getting back to business in case you mess up a particular field or fields while working in Salesforce. The end user functionality actually helps you reduce the time that it takes for your end users to get back to work. Additionally, it also reduces the burden on you as an admin, because now the end users don't have to come to you every time they mess up something and accidentally and have to restore those particular values back. Now, you might ask that, hey, I did not want them to access this functionality for all object types. I only want them to do it for certain object types. That is also possible in Spanning. If you configure this button over here, it shows up for auth, base, and custom object types. But if you see the restore button over here on the page layout, this is configured for specific object types, and it's up to you to put it on the object types where you want to give your end users functionality to restore field level values. Now, if you do give your access to your end users, first of all, since we are in-app and we know what profiles and permission sets those end users have, they will only be able to view and restore those field values that they have access to. And second of all, it's completely up to you to determine what specific object types do they have access to restore. And if you are giving them access, they will not be able to access the Spanning backup app where they can actually see all the different backups and do exports and bulk restores, right? So that is a different app that is installed when you install Spanning backup, and that is only limited to on-page functionality that is accessible by your end users. Right. So I want to show you one more thing. I want to show you the restore where you can actually put back children records for a deleted parent. So I'm going to go to the Restore tab, and I'm going to select this org. Spanning gives you both the options. Spanning allows you to restore data back into the same org, and it also gives you an option to restore the backed up data into a different org. And the use cases for that are more like, hey, if you want to load up a sandbox quickly with a subset of data from your production, you can actually push data from Spanning into your sandboxes, because Salesforce has limitations on how many times you can refresh and what data actually comes through at a time of refreshing, right? Because for developer and developer pro sandboxes, you do not get any data. You only get metadata at the time of refresh. So you can use Spanning for that purpose. For this example, I'm going to show you this org, and I'm going to hit next over here. The first option you have is search, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to search for account object type, And I'm going to give a date range once this loads up real quick. Sorry, my network is a little bit slow this morning. But here you can actually go back to a previous backup and you can search for updated or deleted records between a specific time range, right? So here you're seeing that I have one object that is updated, one that is deleted, but you can select either or, right? You can only search for updated. Let's say, for example, if you mass loaded a bunch of records for an object type and you only want to look at the updated ones, you can do that. Or if you did a mass delete, you only want to look at the deleted ones, you can do that as well. But if you look at the updated one, when you do a preview, one thing that we also show you is the field level differences over here. So you can see that, hey, what were the values that were different in the last backup versus what I have in Salesforce right now. If you want to see all the different fields that are available, you also have the option of looking at that by unchecking this checkbox over here. It'll show you all the different fields. Even if they are not different, we will still show them to you so that you can get a quick look of what's going on with this particular record. Now, I'm going to restore both of them over here. The Abada, as you guys know, when I did the preview, there are 3 children, and I'm going to restore the children along with the Abada account in a restore without you having to do anything additional. So when I hit next, I get 2 options. The first one is include children. So that is what I'm going to say yes to. Now, we go all the way down the hierarchy. What I showed you in the example was only 2 levels, but it does go all the way down the hierarchy. It doesn't matter if you have 5 levels or 10 levels or whatever that may be, we will go all the way down when you say include children. The other option we have right now over here is overriding field values. So let's say, for example, after a backup was done, you recently added a new required field for this object type. Now, if you try to restore records that were deleted in the past, for example, Salesforce will want you to have a value for that required field at the time of insertion, because otherwise Salesforce will say, hey, this is a required field, you cannot create this object or record. So what you can do for this example is, let's say you have an account. I'm going to select something like a field like this one. As you can see, once I selected the field, it automatically populates what were the different values. So this is a multi-pick list, and it automatically populates the values so that I can select the specific ones that I want. Now, this is a good way for us to keep, to make sure that you are not entering values that might not go with what is predefined in your Salesforce environment, right? So this is a good way to make sure of that. And you can add any other fields as well. The other use case for overriding is, say, for example, if you had an owner for this particular record that is now no longer with your organization and is inactive in Salesforce, you can change the owner ID to be your specific owner ID, which is the admin's owner ID, or you can put in an owner ID of the manager of the departing employee so that that person becomes a new owner when these records are restored, right? So there are multiple use cases. Now, this functionality is also available in a cross-org restore scenario. And basically what that does is, if you have sensitive data like social security numbers or PHI data in your production instance that you do not want to land in your sandboxes, you can override those values at the time of restore, right? So those values never land into your sandbox. So let's say I'm going to do just one for the demo environment purposes. I'm going to hit next over here. This is the quick confirmation screen. One other option that you do have over here is an export. Sometimes you have scenarios where you only want to find out the changes, but you don't want to do a restore. You just want to export it out in a CSV file, or the changes that happen between the date range, right? You can actually use the export functionality over here, and we'll give you a CSV file for the parent. And in this scenario, also the children records, because you had elected to include children. So I'm going to do a restore over here. We'll put back the updated account, the deleted account, and all the children of the deleted account as well. So that should just take a second. In the meantime, I'll also mention that it's already done. But what I was going to mention is we offer an immutable audit log as well. So any actions that are done by any admins or end users are logged in an immutable audit log that is available for you as admins only. And you can actually view all the different activities that were done using spanning since the time spanning was installed in your environment. And if you want to filter by specific date ranges or events or anything of that sort, you can actually download this as well in a CSV format. So you can search by specific users or the type of event, whether it was a restore or a backup or anything of that sort as well. Now, I will show you the account that I restored, which was Abada. So here you can see Abada was created, and it's created by me. Here you can see that the 2 contacts came back along with the attachment. So we did all that work for you without you having to do any manual work in figuring out, hey, how are the relationships, without you having to create additional fields in your object types to track all the parent IDs and all of that. You don't have to do any of that sort. Spanning maintains all of that, puts back the relationships, the records for master detail, object relationships, and also if there are any reference fields, we'd also put them back. So for lookups, if it's reference fields, we will put back the relationship as well for lookups.
Daivat, thank you so much for sharing all those great tools available through spanning. Was there anything else that you wanted to show, or?
That's all that I had planned. If there are any specific things that people want to look at, I'm happy to show that.
All right. Well, we thank you guys for joining us today for this presentation by Spanning of their backup solution. It's something that we use ourselves at Hands-On Cloud Solution, and something we definitely encourage our customers to use. It makes it a quick, easy way to securely back up your data, make it easy to restore those volunteer opportunities, update connections, and correct things that may have inadvertently got updated incorrectly. So for customers that are looking to add this to their Salesforce instance, Hands-On Connect is a reseller of Spanning Backup, and so we do offer this service. So just contact us, and we'd be happy to walk you through the trial and costs associated with it. We hope that you enjoyed today's presentation. Don't forget to join us on Thursday for our next series on Connect University. We'll be talking about the Hands-On Connect Form Builder. Next week, we're going to be talking about 2 new blocks available in the Hands-On Connect content management system. And then we'll discuss some advanced options with the Form Builder that we discussed this week. As always, you can register for any of our upcoming Connect Exchange or Connect University sessions at www.handsonconnect.org/webinars. And you can always check out our YouTube channel where you could see past Connect Exchanges. We will record, as I said, we will be posting this one on there as well, but you can also see some of our past partners such as Map Anything and Click and Pledge and services that they offer to you. Thank you all again for attending today, and we look forward to seeing you again in the future.